I do believe we are live. So I'll say indeed. And greetings unto you, beloved and holy friend. Thank you for joining me once again in this moment on another conscious evolution. Today's whole stream topic is about what's worth defending. I have internet again, and I feel like today's lesson is partially inspired by yesterday. The real stream topic was technically sometimes the best way to defend yourself is not to, right? Which can be counterintuitive and also not correct, at least not in every circumstance. But in some circumstances, it may be. And in writing the title for today's YouTube stream, I was just thinking to myself, how can I verbalize this to have it be a little bit more broad? And with the number 983, what's worth defending, right? I just thought to myself that technically the thing we're really trying to defend is that sense of peace, right? That when you feel you need to defend yourself, usually something ends up happening that robs you of your peace. And then you end up trying to attack the oppressor to try and regain your peace. But in your attack, you end up stealing your own peace in turn, right? So yesterday after stream, I sat on that spot where I finished streaming for a little bit while longer, just breathing, just being in that space, knowing that I don't have to technically be anywhere else. And then I went inside, told my mom about the stream topic, about why it is I decided to talk about the past, told her about the video of Kiki again, wanted to show it to her, remembered, I don't have internet. It comes out why my internet got switched off. Specifically, the reason was me talking against God, right? Wasn't necessarily the first bit about the exchange with my sister, but me clarifying why I would say something like that, right? And it's the part of not being able to believe in a deity that punishes forever, right? And I was like, okay. I shared my perspective. I shared the stream topic, almost like admitting to my own faulty, mistakes in the past with like saying certain abrasive things from that place of passion, admitting that I was wrong. And I left it at that, right? I like put it metaphorically down. I was like, okay, I accept. I accept the punishment. If this is how it has to be, I will make do with what I have, knowing that I can buy data. I was completely committed to it. So I went into the garage where my pull-up bar hangs. I cleaned the space underneath it so I have a little bit more room to move around. I exercised, and by the time I returned to technology, my internet was working. I was using the internet for a while. I went outside and then I thanked my dad. Right? Like there was a part of me that didn't want to. I could see that part of me fighting. Right? And then I was like, what am I defending? Oh, am I defending my pride? Am I defending my ego? Am I defending the part of me that doesn't want to say thank you for something that is supposed to be? And I said thank you anyway. And he accepted the thank you and we left it at that. But in between, like we were like still in the same space, right? Because he was working on the car close to the garage. And usually I'm pretty chatty, as you friends might have realized. I like talking, actually. I like having conversations with people. I feel like one of the best things we can do is share from our different perspectives this world with one another through the medium of language. And language comes in multiple different ways. And I decided, I don't know if it wisely so, but I decided that my silence is going to speak more volumes than any words I can say might, right? And realizing that anything that I'm going to say with that as the context is going to be abrasive, is going to be inflammatory, is going to be filled with rage. So I said nothing instead. And in saying nothing, I said more than enough. I defended my peace by not getting enraged. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'll write peace on the inside of this one. And then I'll do, what's the second intention? Peace and calm. No. Peace and patience? Yeah. I feel like there's more patience in there than calm. Patience. English language, yeah. Your spelling. How are you friends doing? Have you been defending your peace? Has it been possible for you to defend your peace? Have you needed to defend your peace? I think I saw Doug Dad saying something about me being something worth defending. That's so nice, dude. That's so kind of you to say, bro. Sending you lovin's, man. Man, I seem to be having some technical difficulties. There we go. Joy Vive, seeing your name, and Shan, Duck Dad too. There's Lozana, Sam as well. Sending all of your friends blessings. It's so nice having you. Morning, friends and fam. Love to you. You all are worth defending. Protect your peace. So many blessings. Man, my parents did some damage on me for sure. But I'm really glad I didn't try to shove religion down my throat. Yeah, it doesn't work, right? Like we had a little bit of a conversation about that during the yoga as well with Sam. How it's almost like a part of their religion that they have to, right? That they are sinning if they don't try to convince you otherwise as well, right? So sympathizing with that, and then also sympathizing with the other side of it, and realizing in trying to convince me that I'm wrong, you basically just make it harder for you to convince me that I'm wrong because I don't want to be wrong. So I'm going to have to double down in my own righteousness, right? And then we end up, pushing each other further away instead of actually closing the gap as we were hoping to. And in realizing that, we defend our own peace instead of trying to defend our beliefs, right? Realizing that we can actually just not. Yeah, this is the one. There we go. Our Nordic runes as well. Passions. Let's see some more. Mojo joining us too. There is Dan. I think we talked about you yesterday or day before yesterday when you weren't here. Sending you blessings, bro. You were missed. You lucky duck. I got all the church gens forced on me. Yeah, me too. I got forced to go to church until I turned 14. That's when my rebel streak really kicked in. Like that's when I realized nobody can force me to do anything. All right. And I was like, no. And they're like, I'm gonna switch your internet off. I'm like, do it. I'm gonna take your things away. I'm like, do it, do it. Hey, do it if you want to do it. I don't care. You can't make me do anything that I don't want to do. Right. And as soon as we are willing to realize that about ourselves as well, sometimes we gain some clarity within the self. I cleaned my garage too for like 9.5 hours. Weirdly enough, that's been like a theme. That has also been, cleaning the garage. So how about that, Duck Dad? More synchronicity, bro. Blessings. You're like a duck. Good old churches. I was the child of children's pastor. You bet I was expected to go and dress up every week. Yeah, and would reflect badly on our parents, right? Because that's what it's really about. Oh, your children don't bereave? You must be a bad parent. You must be so bad at parenting because your children don't bereave. Well, yeah. You can't go to church in the street clothes, or else God's gonna be upset. I think it's somewhere in the Bible that Jesus hates jeans. So stupid. It's like, yeah, you have to have your Sunday best, right? I'm imagining just all those hats. How many hats have been purchased for church specifically? So many church hats. The sun is like hurting me a little bit. So I'm going to do something about it. All right, I'm going to defend my peace. Yeah, I see this. This is worth defending. Sure, it's going to be a little bit of effort, but I would rather be at peace than be in pieces, burnt to a crisp, flaking off bit by bit. Let's do this. And then we do this. Now, the sun's fire my razors. It's only hitting my forehead. Okay. Guess I'm gonna be sitting with poor posture. I see Joe Schmo. Sending you blessings too, bro. It's nice having you. Morning, defenders. Morning, Mojo. Again, blessings to you, dear one. It's nice having you. Let me start with this. I had to go to church school once a week to complete my sacrament so I could get married in the Catholic Church. Didn't do that. Lol. Yeah. Some people not only want to get married in the Catholic Church, but they idolize it. Right. They have this fantasy in their minds about what their wedding is supposed to be like. It's going to be the most special day in my life. Let's spend like 2 years worth of savings on this one day, during which we're going to be stressed for the whole of it. And then we're going to be stressed about not having extra money. And then we're going to start fighting about money, because that's apparently the number one reason people end up getting divorced. Oh yeah, it's so exciting. The judicial system. Let me do this. Add more level. I'm still getting fire my laser on my forehead, but no buildings in the shot. I live outside. I am wild man. What's a building? Roofs? Never heard of them. Proud of you for keeping your peace. Thank you, Shan. I'm proud of me too. I think I still could have done better, because I was still mildly enraged, right? Like I was still, that still was happening. I feel like it was still happening, but I wasn't reacting that way. So maybe there was like some rage happening on the inside, but it was not visible. And I feel like I'm proud of that at least. Hey, Nancy, sending you blessings too, friend. Why would you want to have a Catholic wedding? Again, fantasies, right? We have this imagined ideal of what something is supposed to be. Maybe your mom had a Catholic wedding and you saw her photos, or maybe they had old VHS tapes, and then you're like, oh, wow, I'm gonna do that too one day. And then we do it, and we're like, shit, we're happy. Where's the happy? Where's all this happy that I promised myself if I get these things? Why is this happiness that I get from extraneous circumstances so fleeting? It's almost like change is a constant, right? And no matter what I do, things change. And then I find myself unhappy about that, because I keep wanting for things to be differently. I keep wanting for things to change in a different way as to how they have changed. And we loop around, defending ideas of our own happiness instead of defending our actual happiness. I'm playing Starfield. It's pretty bonkers. I've heard good things. I've heard bad things. Having been a Skyrim player myself, that's like most of the context that I'm kind of like resonating with. It's like space Skyrim, apparently, is what people are saying. I really enjoyed Joel Haver's kind of like video / ad for the game. I really enjoyed that video. Basically, and I'm spoiling a little bit, but watch it for yourself. These thieves follows this ship, the main player of the Starfield game. He's like, bruh, this ship has been everywhere, all around the galaxy, traveling to thousands of different planets, over and over again, doing hours upon hours of missions. We've been following him for months, and they finally get to the spaceship, and the spaceship is just stacked with succulents. Like desk plants, essentially, just the whole spaceship stacked with desk plants, because that's the thing that the player found valuable more than anything else. So he just collected those instead of anything practically valuable. And they're like, I guess because he can, and then he just comes outside and he murders that. Like you should watch it yourself. I love Joel Haver. He's such a dude. Starfield should have been ES6. Elder Scrolls 6, I'm guessing. Yeah. Hello, loves. Love you again, Joe. It's nice having you. I'm getting love bombed by Pikachu and Eve before we make pancakes. I forgot that your kitties are called Pokemon names. It's kind of wholesome because in my mind, even though now I know, I do know you're talking about cats. They don't register as cats in my brain because they're Pikachu and Eve. So you're that's the vibe, dude. I would like that actually. That sounds like a blessing. They are the dogs. The dogs are doing great. Bless. Thank you for letting us know and giving us updates for the duck dad. Sam, I'm lame and late to the game. Never. I almost had a stroke for a second there. Dan has never played a Bethesda game. Y'all see bossy, dude. That's a lot of patience and peace you have allowed yourself. I played Skyrim with my best friend in high school. My best friend in the early stages of high school. I was in 4 different high schools. Was I? 1, 2. I was in 3 different high schools. Sorry for lying. Yeah. In the first part of my high school, me and my friend played so much Skyrim on Xbox 360. I remember the grind to get Daedric armor. Looking super cool. Mom was screaming at animals for being underneath her feet. Tensions have been high, huh? Patience and peace. That's what we want, right? That's what we're defending. Try to defend it by not defending. Just like letting go instead. Patience and peace. Let's go. I don't even know what to do with that, right? It's kind of shocking. Yeah, Bethesda, I mean, like if that's the thing I'm thinking about right now. The fact that Starfield is your very first Bethesda game might be a good thing, right? You'll get to have like all of that progress condensed into a space-based game. So I feel you're probably having a time, right? Are you enjoying it? Maybe that's the question to ask. But this is sick. I'm a space scoundrel named Gibbous Porpius. I like that name. And I just encountered some weird space Christians. Space Christians, dude. Just as I was succeeding at defending my peace. You had to say something like that, bro. Instantly, my peace is out of mind. Today is an ocean day. I decided to leave the swamp for a little bit of salt water and sunshine. Need them ocean minerals every once in a while to keep me in balance. Bless, bro. Have a good day, man. I don't know if you're going to be chilling there all day, but I hope it's a good one. Maybe you get to meet some cool people on the beaches alongside you. Catholic Church turned me away from getting married to reverse Uno, I guess. Are the kittens out of jail, Doug? Absolutely. I'll take a couple of pics for you. Maybe I'll find a Kraken today. You have to summon it first, bro. You can't just find Krakens, though. You need to be summoning Krakens, playing Cytrons, dancing in a circle around a fire, making weird slurping chanting sounds because of all of the water, right? I'm sorry, I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm gonna stop. My favorite was there's a suggested donation of $600 to the priest for doing a 2-hour service. Sounds like the mafia. A suggested donation of $600. $300 an hour for standing there and saying words. If I could make $600 for every 2 hours of live stream, that's good cash. Oh. I guess I get it, right? From a I like money perspective. But you're supposed to be a pillar of sanctity, right? Of justness, of purity, I guess, in this holy sacrimony. Give me $600. Oh, I mean, if you want to, you don't have to give me that. But if you want to, we suggest that you give me 600. That's so fucking stupid. Oh, Joy, not totally, but maybe today. They were out for 4 hours yesterday, and then a bunch of play. Bless. I'm guessing they're being kept, for the sake of like conditioning still. Should he be doing it for free? That's what I was thinking as well. Right? Because I do believe you pay for the privilege of being able to use the church grounds. I haven't gotten married myself, so I'm admittedly a little bit spotty on my getting married information. Oh, no, 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 no. Namaste. Most beautiful, unique individuals whom I'm proud to call friends. Dear Lisa, thank you for joining us as well. Dear friend, again, salt water is good for us, good for the skin and the hair and the eyeballs. I'm excited to get baptized today. Bless, bro. I do agree with all of those things that you said, man. I feel one of the most unknown benefits might actually just be the grounding effects, right? Because that's a lot of surface area connected to both the water and yourself being in the water and the water seeping into the ground and all of that ground having a ion exchange, right? Electron exchange happening. So if you find yourself negatively charged, being in ocean water, I feel automatically is going to help you heal. Never mind or maybe I should say on top of all of the skin benefits potentially. Joy, a priest, is paid and lives rent free from the church. Marriage is a part of his job. Donations mean it's my choice. Might have given a small amount, but I'm not a fan of forced donations. Yeah, it's not forced. It's not forced. Duck Dad, you're just going to burn in hell forever if you don't tithe. Oh, it's not forced. We're not forcing you. We're just trying to save your eternal soul because we're so nice. We're so great. And we're also not paying taxes on this cash. So maybe if we work together, you can save on your tax return or something like that. It's tax deductible. Is it tax deductible if you give money to the church? Probably, right? So they get like double not taxed. Nice. That's cool. That sounds. Maybe I should start a church as well. It sounds like a great money making gig. Like I would be surprised how many people unironically just think that it's like, yeah, this church thing sounds very profitable. Maybe we should charge churching. Salt water is so good for us. I think I've read it one. The hair, the eyeballs. Did I miss that the previous time? You put your eyeballs in the salt water? Oh yeah. Joe Schmo is Florida man. I keep lapsing in judgment. It's like something Joe Schmo says that surprises me, and then I'm like, actually, Florida man. Yes, Florida men swim with their eyes open in salt water. Why? They got Florida man genes, an extra skin over the eyeballs. I don't know if it is good for you, but I don't think it's necessarily bad. I know, like most of the data I understand about the skin benefits is from Epsom salts, admittedly as well. So technically not the same as what you'll get in the ocean, but I think there's probably still some correlations. Joy V, the Catholic Church have established for the sole purpose of large-scale money laundering. Oopsie. You're saying this quiet part out loud. I think I've like trotted around that point as well. Yes, and they're doing it for the money, of course. Well, money, and there is like a certain appetite for control as well, right? Is control. Like, how do you get a whole society to follow a certain set of rules? And religion is a good way to try and do that. It's falling apart right now, though. Are we having Sangha today? Just because you asked. Yes. Yes, we are, Joy Reef. Yes, we are. During a wedding, they take a collection. They take a collection. Wait a second, am I missing something? I don't know how much prep time goes into it for $300 an hour. I think $300 total. I mean, it depends on the circumstances, right? Like this is a part of me that I feel, is again naive. But I try to think of it from a perspective of like effort dedicated, right? Because I do understand what they're doing, right? I do understand, but I also understand how much effort that might require, and I understand that there's like 16 hours in a working day or a waking day, right? So if you're in that space, right, getting paid a salary by the people of your church, and the people of your church needs your service, then that should be what you do, right? So that is what you do. That's why you do it. But unfortunately, it's nice having 600 extra bucks, even if you're a pastor. Nice. I can make 600 bucks. I don't care if these people don't stay married for life, right? Actually, get divorced and then get married again so I can make 600 more bucks. Yeah, I don't care. Do it. Do it again. Get married harder with people worse for you than ever. That way, maybe the time between marriages, will increase and I get to make more 600 boxes. I like money perspective. I mean, right now, we find ourselves very much stuck in that perspective. Like I really I think about this every day. I don't know how we're going to stop it. Do we have to? I feel maybe instead of stopping it, there should be like a almost like floor. I'm almost thinking about it like groundwater, right? Like we should figure out a certain type of groundwater of money, because right now it's almost like having these untouchable spheres of water just floating in the air, right? You cannot make it drop. You cannot get anything from it. You might get the sphere to give you some of those drops, but the sphere doesn't release, right? I'm just imagining the accumulation of wealth by generations of people, and just these spheres of wealth just hanging there out of reach of all of the other people. People down there are like actually dying of thirst. They cannot afford to live, and then people are like, yeah, let's keep the water floating here. So maybe a groundwater, right, of money, maybe that could be the way to kind of like balance the scales, make money a little bit more of an equitable resource, because money is very abundant in this world, and yet still there's so much incentive, right? I'm thinking about China, weirdly enough, not in a bad way, just in a what we'll do for money way, right? Like it's almost absurd, and yet it's working at the same time. Maybe like that's the part that we're stuck on. It's as much as money sucks ass, it's still working, at least to some capacity, right? It's a means of applying leverage and pushing things in certain directions, people in certain directions. I guess maybe the thing that I'm thinking about more than anything is just how we need to figure out a way to channel that leverage, one, or maybe create channels within the ground that help us find more valuable space, right? I'm trying to think of it from an agricultural perspective. Like if there are people out there with land they're cultivating and growing food on, then it's very clear where the water is needed, right? And if other people are potentially, I'm trying to use a bad example for the use of water, but I can't really think of any, because maybe like all of them have some sort of value or will contribute to the world. Just like maybe there's a drought going on and someone else is laying a pipe to the top of a mountain and just opening a big spout so that water can run over the mountain because he likes it that way, right? Like, I don't know what I'm talking about. Peppy, Peppy, alsjeblieft, Woefter. Alsjeblieft, Peppy. Woefter, rustig wees. Yes. Yeah, I guess I get it, right? Like if you could only make one sound, you'll probably make that sound for anything. Excitement, confusion, fear. Maybe I should be. Maybe like she thinks the same thing about me. Maybe she's like, bro, shut the fuck up. Oh, you keep making sounds. Yeah, that's the sounds change. Doesn't matter. Oh, just stop. I want some silence. I understand. I am defending my peace. I've successfully defended. I know I'm not a super big fan of the Pokemon names, but they are ducklings, and I want her to feel her opinions are valued. I don't think the Pokemon names are bad. They just have fractals attached to them, right? And those fractals are not cat. Not in my mind, at least. I've heard that name too many times. I think it's probably that's probably the problem, right? I'm thinking about it like an assignment thing. You hear a word and there's a certain fractal of assignment attached to it in your brain. Maybe it's a good thing that there are Pokemon names then, right? Makes them more full than just a normal cat name would potentially. Yes, Doc. I went through the whole thing too, and after confirmation, I said, "You're done with this, right?" The Catholic, full Catholic mass plus a wedding. Yeah, Doc, I went through the whole thing, and my buddy, knew I hated it and got me a happy one more church day on my confirmation. You know, you didn't fit in when every sacrament the priest does goes, "How come I have never seen you here before?" I'm having song yes again. Good. Makes me smile to say it. I'm so weird. Bless friend. Lean into the weirdness, especially if it makes you smile. In moderation, I guess, right? Use discretion. Is discretion the right word? Awareness. If doing something weird makes you smile, go ahead. Suddenly the world is on fire. Just like instantaneously. I understand, LA. Thanks, pass. Think I still missed a few though before getting there. When COVID started, I was so relieved not to have to go to church anymore. And I've just never gone back. Yeah, I feel it's again a matter of value add, right? Because some people, I'm saying some people kind of incorrectly, many people, most people, maybe even, do not have access to a community, right? We have been so separated and so individualized, granulized is the way that my mind is trying to visualize. That finding a place, a congregation, right? That's technically what the church is, right? Not the place, but the people that come together. And that is why it's popular. That's why it continues, right? Not because there's any inherent value, at least in my mind, in convincing people of things that don't benefit their souls, but because there's a bunch of other people that are being brainwashed in the same way potentially. And there's a sense of community where you look next to your person and they're like, oh, this person also believes my brainwashing. And we can find solace and comfort in that. Right. Unfortunately, Novozana, you can find that in many different places. People just don't know that, or they're not willing to go and explore those other places out of some sort of, more often than not, fear of being unworthy of it. Right? Like, let's talk about music festivals. I know, instant concern, but you might be in your, like, I'm imagining myself in my 70s, right? I'm in my 70s, but I've never been to a music festival. Now I want to go to a music festival because I've been hearing about it my whole life, but never thought I could fit in there. And I just make the decision, you know what? Actually, I can go to a music festival. And you go there and you're met with people you've never seen before that are curious about your life story, that have conversations with you about what your perspective is of the world. And you feel that sense of community, that sense of belonging, that sense of importance and, you know, closeness without having to be any closer than you already are. and it changes your life, literally at 70. I've seen it happen. Fortunately, it didn't take me 70 years. It took me 20. But then after that, I realized that the thing that we kind of like seek is that sense of community with one another. And then asking myself questions about what it is that I value, this stream, became a thing. And here we are, literally doing exactly the thing that I found most valuable in the world: sharing time with friends, sitting in a space where we can consider ourselves a community of like minded people that are choosing love as their fractal. Bless you so much. Just got a few honey to give to the priest for doing it, Joy. I will not be summoning a Kraken today. I think you only get a couple of summons per lifetime. I'm not wasting it today. Yeah. Dire circumstances, dude. When we start summoning Krakens, there needs to be fire raining from the sky. Oh. Swampy, you're going to stand up, paddleboard on a shark. You're a grown woman, LA. Why were you going to church if you didn't want to? Because that's sometimes the only place you can go to feel close with other people, or your friends go, the people in your neighborhood go, and then if you don't go, they ask you about where you were. All right, like there's a lot of brain damage attached to that system, right? That's why I couldn't. It's a work. It's a work. Like, and technically, building community, socializing is work, and you should see it as such, right? Like, you should realize that part of this might be uncomfortable, and I'm going to go and do it. But you should also then, if you know that that's the way it's going to be, do so mindfully, because you don't want to do it in a place that you don't want to be. Swampy, my favorite one. You sure do pay for the church grounds. Also for someone to push part of an iPod, to push play, I'm guessing, start on an iPod. Swampy do, love, dude. In my field, there's a lot of honorariums that go on, so it doesn't sound exorbitant to me. Honor, no, honorariums. I don't know what that word is. Honorariums? Let's come up. For honoring people? That's close to my mic again. Joy, how can I structure those into my job? Need some extra money, honor me for pulling sacred weeds against my beliefs. Are you pulling weeds out of the church grounds? I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing, right? Because again, you are technically serving people. You're not serving the church. The church is the people, right? Like what you're serving is the fact that people might get out of their car and then on the way to the church building, they get to see the garden bed. And then instead of seeing weeds growing alongside the garden bed, they get to see something aesthetically pleasing, right? That is who you're serving. So I don't see any shame in that whatsoever. You upcharge for violations of personal ethics, Doctor. Danger pay, dude. Danger pay, trauma pay. The Joy V, long story. My dad was the head pastor. That was my community, and I made sure I was always my son's Sunday school teacher, so I knew he wasn't being fed garbage. What a trip, preacher's daughter. I understand, LA. Thanks, bless, for being vulnerable and open. There's a pressure that exists within the church going community to keep up your attendance. Yeah, I like how me and Sam are like firing, shots at the same target and hitting them. Exactly. Yeah. It's almost like we grew up in a community like that, Sam. It's almost like we got to see it firsthand. Pay attention. Y'all, our daughters of pastors, so much extra pressure. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I definitely open my eyes in the ocean. It's good for the eyes, it flushes them out, and no, it doesn't sting. Just think about it. Your tears are salt water. The ocean doesn't hurt you, it heals you. I guess there's a certain level of conditioning that needs to happen, probably. I've only been to the ocean a total of like 9 times in my whole life, right? So that's also something to take into consideration. Might be less than 9 times, actually. I might be overshooting a bit. Oh no, I believe church is where you make it in your heart. I don't know. It can be in the bathroom, outside, whatever. Yeah. I feel like church, again, is basically just a space in which you have a sense of belonging. And in that way, that space can be created anywhere. It is something that's felt and something that is self generated as well, right? But people don't realize that that is what they're seeking. Ja, peppertjies. Ja, Wouter. Decorations were not included. We would have to do that, but only 1 hour before the wedding because there were 3 weddings on a Saturday, so you can't interrupt. It seems very profitable, dude. Wow. At 3 weddings, $600 a pop. You know, these people, yo. Ah, I'm more tripping out about how many people have that as their ideal in their minds. Okay, let's put it down. My great uncle was an amazing human who decided his entire life, who dedicated his entire life to the church, even though he was likely gay. When he was in hospice, we called over 30 churches to have a priest come to his house. If it would have meant everything, it would have meant everything to him. We were also told, sorry, priests are very busy. I get the random churches, but his own church turned us down. Yeah, I don't even know what to say to that, bro. Yikes. Like, I guess yikes, right? The most basic of an answer, right? Like, that's what I feel. It's like I'm not even really surprised, to be completely honest. I feel like this might be a time to share the fact that I've been considering studying or certifying myself to be a doula. I don't know if that's a good idea. I don't know if it's a bad idea. It's probably going to be an idea. I don't know, again, how that's going to work, but it is something that I feel oddly called to. Since reading that book, The 5 Invitations by Frank Ostaseski, hospice care, being there for the dying. What a trip. Because my mind is, of course, going to extremes. Because it's impossible for me alone as this fleshy person to do all of that. But it's not impossible for me to build robotics that look like me, that can talk like me, that can sit with a person. Is it gonna matter? Will it matter? Yes, it will. Partially. Partially. It can also matter in the other direction, right? It might be more meaningful to you to have a uber compassionate, unwavering, unsleeping doula as well, right? Because a normal person has to sleep as well, has to eat food, has their own life. So if you're actually dying, having a companion, even if it's robotics, that mimics the compassion of a human being, even if it's only mimicking, right? Because I'm assuming right now just mimicry. Will it matter? I'm trying to think from my own perspective. I think it would matter to me, right? But that's ego speaking. I'm like listening to my ego being like, yeah, relax. Relax. Oh, stop worrying about whether or not you're gonna die alone and start loving the people while you're alive. All right? How about that? Fight for the people you have in your life. Yeah, keep it stream topic relevant. If it would have, it would, I think everyone agreed, Lisa. My church was always the lake and the woods. I don't understand that fractal. I'm guessing everything, maybe everything, like the lake and the woods, as in like an analogy for everything. Oh, my leg is asleep, yo. There we go. Catching up on 2 speed. See y'all in the present in about 10 minutes. 10:11. I'm tripping myself out trying to imagine what the double speed of me trying to double speed myself sounds like. Sam, the barking back thing is funny. I knew the dog trainer. The first thing when he met her dog was being annoying, and she just turns around and bites it on the scruff of the neck. It stopped. I have also, I haven't bitten Pippi's scruff of her neck, but I have playfully bit her ear. And the level of, the fuck are you doing? In her eyes says to me that that's not something that she likes. She doesn't seem to be extremely disturbed by it, but she knows that that's what I'm doing, and she'll move herself. She'll be like, "I'm gonna get fuck out of dodge before you nibble on my ear again." Freaking double standards. Hypocrite. That's such a hypocrite. Oh, okay. She bit a duck in the scarf. What another? Oh, can't even imagine what it feels like to be secret about your life because the church doesn't condone it. Remaining not only faithful but devoted one last time, the church gives him the finger. Like you're saying the word. Oh, you're not saying the word, but the word that comes to my mind is educational, enlightening, maybe enlightening. Yeah, that's a pretty enlightening experience to have of like dedicating yourself to technically a corporation, a cult-like corporation. You know, that in my mind has the sole goal of trying to siphon as much money from its community as possible. Right? So hard so that there's like literally percentages. We'll make it simple for you. You just give us 10% of everything every month, and then God will give you something in turn, right? Surely that's not all of the churches, but I've listened as a child, right? And I haven't been alive that long. I've listened to multiple sermons about what tithing means and how God gives back. And then there was getting baby beeps, right? Watching these pastors flying private jets. It's a bit absurd. Like I'm not surprised, right? I feel like it sucks that your grandpa had to learn that lesson that way. I feel like it's almost evil, but it's also not surprising. When a devotee to the church is ostracized because the imagery cloud daddy doesn't like gay folks, it really is bonkers. Like I feel, for me the thing is again the whole choice thing, right? Like if God made you, because that is apparently the theory, right, in that religion, and he made you to like other men, why would he hate you for that? Right? I saw this video by a lesbian lady who with her girlfriend was trying to use like an OR or something, like go to like I couldn't remember the full context, but there was a lady behind the counter kind of vibe, right? And this lady behind the counter turned them away because they were lesbians. And surely it was scripted. I know this, but it was just funny to me. And then she goes, "Actually, I'm no longer gay." And the woman goes, "What? What do you mean? You can't do that." It's like, no, if it's a choice that I'm gay right now I'm deciding I'm not gay anymore. So now you cannot judge me or scrutinize. And I was just like laughing at that, right? Like it's so absurd. It's so absurd. I feel like, for me, I find beauty in men. I find them beautiful, but I have no sexual polarity towards them, right? Like there is no effort on my part to generate sexual polarity when I look at the feminine form, right? It's not me trying. I'm not trying or choosing. It arises in me. And if that arises in you for the other sex, you know, good. If it arises for the same sex, you're lucky to have that emotion arise in you. It's a very beautiful human experience, right? Some people are asexual, so that doesn't arise. Apparently, I feel like I might be, barking up the wrong tree, but there are a plethora of different sexual relationships to this world, and trying to hate people for what they choose to show up as, show up for, right? I feel is missing the point completely. And again, it's a level of insecurity, right? It's like a part of ourselves that's so scared of, if we accept that, because, and I've had this conversation with a few friends before, where thinking about the dynamic I have of my family or my dad specifically, him being a little bit more on that Christian side of things, them accepting something in a weird way can register as them saying it's okay, right? That it's fine, that there's no problem with it in accepting. And it causes this weird dynamic inside them where it almost like makes them spaz out. It's like a short circuit in their brains. So they cannot do that. And I feel like that's where the real harm comes in. It's like if your religion forces you essentially to take hard stands on things that you know nothing about, you're going to appear as a bigot, because we do not have the full perspective, right? Like we can have our perspective. And if you grew up in a traditional Christian family, clearly, as we see it in this space as well, the perspective you get is pretty common and familiar, right? And that's why it works, is because this world is so crazy that people would rather have something broken but clear than try and solve the problem themselves, right? Consciously evolving alongside a community, trying to build something better for our tomorrows. And it's absurd. It's absurd how lost we are. But I do believe we're finally reaching some point of becoming awake, right? Again, latching it on to today's stream topic, we're realizing what it is we're defending. And I feel like the pandemic really changed our minds a lot as well, right? Where we realize that things can drastically change and the world continues. That there are more important things than just more, more money, more. And the joke is, there's more in my name, but it comes after, right? The surrender. It's not an acquiring. It is using what there is and turning into something new. Melting. I've been fascinated about metals these days. The fact that you can take these molecules, heat them up to a certain temperature, and just pour them into shapes. And on the inside, it's like, it's perfect. You mill that thing down, it's so clean. I don't know how many of you friends have seen iRobot. Nope, robots, not iRobot. Some of your friends were like, I've seen. No, not that one actually. I'm sorry. Robots. It's a 2004 or something animated movie. It's good. It's good. Still looks good even though it's 2004 or something. Really good movie. And there's a dude called Ratchet, and his aspiration is to turn everything into shiny metal. And like watching that movie again as an adult, I was like, shit, bro. Because that dude's whole ambition is basically bottom lines, right? Making more money. convincing other people that they're not good enough so that they'll buy what's better from you. Like, yeah, his slogan for the product he sells is, "Why be you when you can be new?" Oh man, coming for your peace, right? Coming for your peace of mind, coming for your sense of security and self. That's evil, yo. That's so much evil. Okay. Like fast, quick, and aggressive. Just like a little bit, like a nip. About to melt. Even at 4 years old, she said, "How are we going to know if we're talking about Pokemon or the cats?" You see, these are the conundrums, right? These are the consequences our choices have, sweet child. We shall figure it out, right? Sometimes we make choices and then we find out later. Sometimes we fuck around. Find out later, child. That's messed up, Doc. About your uncle and the dog trainer. Although, if your uncle was closeted, how would they know? I mean, I've. This is probably like again bad information, but I saw a movie once where a gnarly old dude also disciplined his sled dogs by biting one's ear, right? I haven't bitten Pippi's ear. I just want to make sure that's also apparently clear. It was more like a nibble, right? Still weird. Fine. I surrender. That's why I practice free worship. That is why I refuse to be in a building and listening to a man reading a book that was written by men. I see God. I know God. God is all around you. You don't have to go anywhere to find God. You have to find yourself. Right? Surprise, surprise. Swampy, maybe I can't relate because when I get offended against like when I vengefully turn my back and say pound sand, yeah, I know that I don't need an institution to be a piece of the puzzle. I am free priest with no indoctrination that I hide behind. Right? And people like indoctrination because it gives them something to fall back on. It's like, wait a second, who am I? What am I? Oh yeah, my indoctrination. Oh, that's nice. No, you'll have that feeling anyway, right? And it's not something to fear, but it's something to melt into, right? Let your ego be lost so that you can find yourself again, right? That's the space in which you really find yourself. Again, a space that is at peace, right? The egoless space of existence is so peaceful because there's no, weirdly enough, direction. The ego gives you a sense of forwardness, right? The egoless space is unbound, goes in every direction, right? Inwards as well. I'm seeing one sphere protruding into our space, and then as it protrudes into our space, it creates a sphere in metaphysical space as well. And then there is an intersection of energy happening between them too. It's pretty. It looks nice. Can't relate. Love is true again. I'm starting to think my defiance is not only genetic, but from watching beautiful humans get wronged hard at a young age. Yeah, the injustice. For me, the injustice, the biggest injustice of these things is just the convincing, literal forming children, right? Like their minds are so malleable, so naive. And then you tell them, yeah, oh, there's this place where you're gonna go and burn for eternity if you don't believe these things, right? That's the most deplorable part of it for me. And unfortunately, that's why I have such a hard time being compassionate, being tolerating. Maybe that's the better word. Like I feel like that's it. It is evil, right? To like brain damage people like that from such a young age. Because in my mind, it is brain damage, right? Like the amount of time I spent laying awake, worrying about what hell is going to be like and how I'm going to burn there one day because of what an evil person I am, right? That's not cool, yo. Like I would rather not, as an ego or as a non-ego, go through that fractal. And the fact that we are willingly, forcibly, even like I went to a school that had 45 to an hour worth of church every day, right, in the mornings. Was it every day? At least once a week. Maybe it was once a week or something, right? So church at school, and then of course church at church, which I was also forced to go to, at least until like the age of 14. It's it's a part of me now, I guess, and I will use it as firewood to burn away all of the pain. We are free to know God without the help of books. Exactly, Brother Bear. It is hard though, and the point is to get to know. I believe her is like living your life. That's the best way. Swampy, I say my religion is simple. Don't be a dick and help your fellow humans when you can. If Sky Daddy doesn't like that, I wasn't meant for the club. Yeah. Sounds very kinky. That's literally why I didn't say it the second time I started reading. It's not the book's fault. People are being assholes, Joe. It's assholes choosing to be so because they are. They found a way to justify. I mean, unfortunately, the book is pretty, at least in part, yikes as well, right? Like there's a lot of baby murder and genocide, a lot, like a lot, right? If I pick up any book and there's like one case of baby murder, I'm already not having a good time, right? I'm gonna probably put this book down. Multiple, multiple, like swaths of people just getting exit, right? Like, yeah, sure, let me drown the whole world except for 8 people or whatever. That's pretty. That's pretty yikes. Oh, but I promise I won't do it again. What? What? What do you mean? Oh, like you're omnipotent. You could have seen the future of you feeling the level of yikes that you're feeling right now, right? I do believe in the flood. I do, but I don't believe it was a biblical event. I believed it was a cosmic event, right? Like if a massive asteroid or comet potentially hits our oceans, kilometer waves gets washed over the land, right? Literally getting sloshed. Like I do believe in that, right? There's actual evidence for it, in fact. And it was like a resetting event for civilizations that came before. And then afterwards, things accelerated significantly faster because some people did survive that event. Some people believe that the pyramids were built against that Adams event, right? Like they knew shit was coming and they built those things as defenses or whatever. This is me getting into a little bit more conspiracy theory, territory, but still. And then, there was an incentive to create a story. And the story that was created became a popular one because it came alongside the technical evolution of, the printing press as well. And people with vested interests and crusading and the implications of it as well, right? Because it's like one of those things where it's almost like getting fed a poison that is everlasting, and they sell you the antidote, or you have to keep making the antidote for yourself day by day, right? Like that's a part, how I see the damnation religion. It's so interesting. how much we've forgotten as a species. If only that, if only we can remember. I feel our history is worth defending, right? Truth is worth defending. The truth of the people that were actually showing up lovingly, right? Yeah, wars happened, but also there were people who dedicated their lives to being nurses and doctors and caretakers for people that was gravely injured. Love is still true. The people whose children that was happy to have them back home. Can you imagine? Your son just turned 18. He disappears from your life, from your home. He dies on a battlefield thousands of miles away because the government said so. How the hell is that okay? Right? If not for love, I feel like this, it would have, literally, and I feel like in a weird way, we're reaching a point where we're just not accepting stuff like that. It's again, what is worth defending? All right? What is worth defending? Because that's what they get you with, is they get you with, what's that word? Some of your friends are already saying it. Like I literally don't have it in my vocabulary because I don't use it. It's when you feel a sense of duty towards your country, unwaveringly so. Patronage, or guess it's a sign that I'm supposed to move on from this line of topic. It's not the book's fault, love again, Sam. It's what you're saying that makes me think that the movie Divergent is real and I'm one. I mean, what does divergent mean technically? And if you pay attention to that definition, all of us are divergent, right? And I mean all of us, like everyone. Sure, there's some, like monotony happening right now, but that divergence is only going to increase alongside our technical future. Sorry, buddy, that's one I didn't see or read. Love True. That now reminds me of two of my favorite asshole songs. One by Derry Larry and one by Jimmy Buffett. I do not know either of them. Asshole song, ancient, ancient verses, Nancy. I'm happy that you actually listened to it, Sam. I didn't understand how people can be greedy and uncaring. You don't? I don't fit one thinking style for life, and I can't relate to those that do. This life seems so unnatural and cruel, but if that's normal, why isn't it for me? I feel it's a matter of self reflection again, right? It's like thinking about it from a perspective of effort. Like, think about the amount of effort you've applied, literally doing hard manual labor with your hands, making things beautiful in the world. Some people are unwilling to apply that level of effort, right? So they find different ways to try and make money. And unfortunately, that leads to a scale of humanity, right? Like you basically set it up in a way where you allow the worst of humanity to thrive, right? Because you can make a lot of money being a deplorable human being. That's an option with money, right? If the economy is based on a value exchange of love, right? Like human beings contribute more love to the world, whatever that means, art, energy, food, entertainment, manual labor, whatever, right? It's going to be impossible for people to exploit other beings because if there is no love being generated, then you're not going to get any value exchange. Yeah, this is where my knowledge gaps comes in, and I keep getting reminded of it, and I get to look forward to learning more. Finding the people who do actually know. I don't know. Honorarium. The name of the suggested donation for the priest. If you go somewhere and doing a great speaker gig, they may ask you for an honorarium rate for speaking. Okay. I just never have used that word, so I appreciate you letting me know. Now, if I hear it in the future, I can be like, heck, I don't know what that means. I'm partial to Jimmy Buffett one though. Aw, Jimmy. Nah, I'm sad. I went to my first EDM rave last night. It was small, but so much fun. How about that, Loazana? As I'm pulling on these threads, you're like, oh wow, look, I also have one of these threads. How's your matchy matchy? Of course, the synchrony continues. You don't even have to tell me for me to know. The chorus goes like this: were you born asshole, or did you work at it your whole life? Either way, it doesn't matter because you're an asshole tonight. I feel like it depends, right? Like it depends on where that asshole nature is coming from. If it comes from a I am showing up as an asshole and almost like leaning in from it from a place of this is the part of me that's stable, then it's a work your whole life to be an asshole. The other fractal is more feminine, right? Like something was said, something was done, something is experienced in this moment right now that makes for the perfect combination of circumstances for me to be an asshole or to act like one. And again, it doesn't matter because from the feminine perspective, from this perspective of change, that is your physical, sensing organ, if you're an asshole right now, and that's how it's experienced in this moment. Again, realizing that there is this part of you that is unchanged, despite the emotional influx, the part of you that witnesses the change. That's where we find stability. That's where we find the capacity to ask the question, have you been working on this your whole life? I feel like that is also going to escalate things, right? If I'm being an asshole right now and you're like, have you been an asshole your whole life? I'm like, fuck, now you're putting me in a bad mood. Oh, have I been an asshole my entire life? I hope not. I learned about doulas when Ali was pregnant. Very interesting for sure. I'm more talking about the other side of the spectrum, right? The death part. I don't think I'd be able to handle the helping women give birth, yo. I feel like that's so much energy. It's too powerful. I think I could deal with death, but birth, yo. Yossi. She was a birth doula. There we go. My mom was a doula for many years. My brain getting melted right now. That's so cool. I would love to know some stories. Joy. Okay, so wondering if it meant birth or death. I guess it depends. I guess you have to state death doula or birth doula. There's a pagan pride festival this weekend in a small town about 30 minutes away from here. One of my witch friends and I held a ritual circle with a spiral dance, singing and drumming. That sounds amazing. That sounds like so much fun. I'm so happy that you went out and did that. It's Sunday, so I don't know if the weekend festival is over, but it might have just happened. I'm happy that you went. Rabbit, that sounds dope, right? So much friends getting hyped, for that space as well. I can't dance yet after the knee surgery, but I led the singing and drumming. Bless. There's always a way to contribute to the space. I'm so happy you have had that experience, right? Had some fire dancers. Then we moved indoors for the dance. Great music, great lighting. So much bless. I think I missed something. I don't know, Nancy. I also feel like I'm out of it, but I'm trying to catch up right now. It sounds like a blessed time. One of the best parts was seeing the night sky with no light pollution. The first thing I saw were Jupiter and Saturn. That's so crazy. I don't know yet, right? I know that they're out there, and I know they basically look like stars if you look at the stars. But I should probably, so I can be like, that's Jupiter, yo. People will be like, oh wow, I didn't know that. Like, yeah, now you do. And then they instantly forget because they looked 1 centimeter to the left. Just like I probably will as well. One of the best part, love again. I went to experience the sky with no light pollution, especially during a meteor shower. That's on the bucket list, 100%. I would also like to see along this line the aurora borealis. That would be such a, I mean, again, it's idolizing. I've seen it on a screen, but I haven't felt my full field of vision melting, seeing this experience. So I would like to have that as well. So last December, my best friend and brother from another mother died suddenly and unexpectedly and in a strange and questionable way. I was just talking about him. I miss Carl. The loss of loved ones is, and the emotional attachment are strong and they're palpable at times. I love you all. We love you too, Joshma. Happy to be alive alongside you right now, dude. I feel like the biggest thing with losing a friend like that is the, what I like to call perceived loss, right? Because you lose the friend, but there's like layers to it, right? Like you're not just losing the friend, you're also losing, that person that you could talk to, that memories you could have made, that, support structure that you could lean on if you're having a hard day. Like there's so much loss. And how we perceive that, and the more we kind of like stoke that fire of like reminding ourselves of how much we've lost, that's where in the Five Invitations Frank Ostaseski talks about how it's selfish. Like it's selfish then almost to grieve in that way, because now it's not about the person, it's about you and how much you've lost, right? That person lost their lives, and now you're tripping yourself out about the time that you've lost with them in your lives, right? Don't do that. Celebrate them, right? Don't create more loss for the loss that's already been had. Defend the peace, defend the beautiful, defend the memories that you have of Carl. And I know you do that, Brother Bear. Sending you blessings, man. I'm sorry for your loss as well. There are a number of online tools you can use to find ideal viewing spots, Joe. You might have one close to you. You never know. I want some sort of app with notifications that triangulates my space on the earth and then gives me like a 5 minute heads up to head outside and watch meteor showers. Sick. I'm gonna go outside quickly. People are like, what are you going outside for? There's meteor showers. It's like, you're gonna go for a shower? No, no. There's meteors burning up in our atmosphere right now. I wanna go and look at it. You wanna come along? People be like, yeah, let's go and look at meteor showers. Actually, what happens is, no, we're gonna scroll some Instagram. Thank you. I'm like patronizing both sides right now, so I'm leading into it. I'm sorry. Jovan, the desert is amazing for seeing stars, so absolutely. So clear. Mountains too, the loss of loved ones, love again to you, Brother Bear. I need to go listening to Prince, singing mountains now. Do it. Swampy, I'm sure Carl and Keith are having a blast out in the next together, going, holy shit. You're like my buddy, Mike and Joe. Yeah, I mean, if you two were like friends in that way, 100% they are as well right now. None of us are promised tomorrow, so live your life today. That's so trippy that you're choosing to say those words. Uh, Tomorrow's stream topic is about how you have the rest of your life ahead of you, right? So I'm gonna just say that. I'm not gonna dive into it, otherwise we'll have nothing to talk about tomorrow. Cosmo, where two halves of a whole idiot come to mind when I think of you two, Duck and Joe. So much bless. Also, I have a few things I could say, but I won't. Love to you, Sam. I don't know what you're talking about, but I can't stop laughing at the two halves of the same idiot thinking about me and Swampy. Love is true, Joe. I'm so sorry for your loss, my friend. For your, I'm so sorry you lost your best friend unexpectedly. Those passings can be so hard. But I'm grateful that we had a friend like you in this lifetime. That we still have a friend like you. Can't imagine. I feel like that was pretty level of bummed out energy from yourself dying as well, knowing that you're leaving a friend behind, right? Knowing that they're gonna join you eventually, but still, Still being like, dude. It's from Fairly Odd Parents, a cartoon. I think I've seen it about a kid getting a pair of fairy godparents, and Cosmo and Wanda, the fairies describe themselves that way. Oh yeah, now there's more clarity as well. Fairly Odd Parents is an experience, right? It's just this kid. His whole life is a dumpster fire. Like just like no wins. Worst babysitter, least caring and considerate parents ever. Uh buck teeth. Dude is getting wrecked by life. And then life is like, bro, I feel sorry for this dude. Let's give him some infinity, never ending fairy godparents, right? You can just wish for anything always, forever, until he ages to a certain age, apparently. It's a cool setup. You know what? I might end up watching some Fairly Godparents, Fairy Odd Parents episode or something. It's almost Sangha time, so I'm gonna do some speed runs. It's so important to reflect and prioritize energy exchanges in your relationships. In this instance, with the church, but also goes for others. Is the relationship sustainable? Is there a fair give and take? It's hard to quantify, unfortunately, but you can feel it, right? And unfortunately, sometimes we feel differently. So there is a certain level of stability we find in realizing that there is an energy exchange happening. In the same way that you can technically generate energy with waves, right? Like it's possible for us to beam microwaves in a direction and on the other side capture that energy again. I don't know if we're generating microwaves, but we are generating light and sound waves. And right, I believe metaphysical energy as well. But it is hard to quantify what is sustainable. Is it proceeding at a fair and attainable pace? Is it healthy and beneficial with the best interest for both parties? So much wisdom, Joe. How do we know? That's my water, dude. Thank you. Hello, UD. What should I do there? Yeah, because me and him have a relationship, right? And I wonder if he believes I am giving fairly to him. I do, dude. Am I giving enough? What is enough? Maybe this moment is, right? Again, depends on how we feel. How do you feel right now? The church didn't turn him away for being gay. Just couldn't be bothered to drive 15 minutes. Yeah, it's so important. Love again. Oh, on the way, happy your note. Melty, check your messages on Discord. The hot sauce with label looks so sweet, dude. Let me actually see if we can check it out right now. What did you post it? There we go. Look at this. So sick. Duck Dad's farm and nursery hot sauce. Those hands you see in the photo grew plants that then grew chili peppers that then got used to make a hot sauce that you can put on your food and literally change your experience. This is the bulk view. I need to think about what I'm gonna show you. I'm thinking about it more, even more thinking. I'm thinking harder. I'm thinking so hard. Wait. I'm still thinking about it. I am defending my peace. Yeah, sometimes things take time, but eventually we'll get to see beautiful chilies in front of some hot sauce. I'm so sorry, but I had to. Okay, let's go. Thank you, Brother Duck Dad, for sharing that with us. Not about our relationship. to qualify. Joe, I was trying to convey that to a friend yesterday. It is hard to quantify, but you can feel it, right? Again, gosh, that really breaks my heart for your Uncle Duck. But I hope he got to enjoy those who was important to him in those moments. So agreed. Thank you, Joe, for echoing that love as well. We have Kristen here sending lovin's in the 11:11. I feel like I'm so far behind. So important, Nancy. Love can be present with any distance, and sometimes it's necessary to have that distance for line to flourish. Yeah, I feel like again, the true power alongside that distance and wisdom comes from your willingness to, right? Having that conversation even though you know it might be uncomfortable. Because I feel like the biggest thing that ends up wrecking us is just a lack of communication, right? Like we don't know what's happening and then we catastrophize. So the best thing you can do is to be clear in that way, right? To allow yourself that space to grow as well. He had us, his sister and her little scruffy dog Molly that he loved. So much bless. Patriotism. Thank you, Mojo. Patriotism. I haven't been allowed a lot of patriotism, right? That's guess that's what it says, right? Like it's almost like a generated experience. But things have to go really well, and you have to be like super stoked about your country to be a patriot. The sanctity of the individual lives is worth defending until the end, not becoming stuck as a pawn for people who will never know your name. Have a beautiful Sunday, Nancy. Bless. Two great songs. Love again. I got lost in the sauce at a young age. I have a freaking American flag tattooed on my back. Then that shit stopped making sense when I was about Melt's age. Yeah. But you got to experience, dude. You got to experience, man. If anything, that's what you're showing up for. Trying to find the right words, but settling with love is true. Sitting here with you. Hope to paddleboard with you on those waves one day. I can already see them. And if we can see something in our minds, we can hold them in our hands. I think I want to be a death doula when I grow up. If not, why not? Right? If not, why not? Yes, the festival is still going on today, but we'll be heading back out in a few hours. Bless. I hope you maybe like make one more connection with someone. Is that Amelita? It's nice seeing you here, dear loved one. Blessings, quick hop in before my bus to go on vacation for the next 2 weeks. Yow! Ow, ow, ow. That sounds like a lot of fun. Sending you blessings, friend. Have a fantastic vacation. Yeah, yeah, bless. More blessings. The Aurora Borealis here are off the chain. So beautiful and unpredictable. You never know when they're coming. Bless. I feel like maybe that's even better, right? The festival is still going off again. My dream is to camp in the fjords of Iceland with duckling and wife in the month of October when the northern lights are peak. Manifest. Seeing it with you at the bear. Like just in saying those words, I could literally picture all of those fractals together. Really, LA? That's so neat. I thought I have to head a lot further north to experience it. How about that? Straight up sounds like a hell of a dream. Yeah, I mean, not only a hell of a dream, but an achievable one, right? That's not impossible. None of the things that you said are impossible. So that's how we should see it, right? Like that's something that you can do. Straight up sounds. Love again. Love again to you. Thank you, Shell, for joining us too. You were not sleeping in. You are here. I have to be mindful of time. We have 10 minutes. Hot sauce is hot and is stupidly garlicky, but the next sauce made with sugar rush peach peppers will be wonderful, bro. I would eat your hot sauce, garlicky or not. I have some rocottos to convert, but not a huge harvest. Rocottos. Hey Google, what are rocottos? You know what? I'm gonna put this down because it asked, "What is rock autos like rock cars?" Like, no, I'm gonna the recipe has some rocottos to convert. Like maybe greens. I think like maybe that's where my mind's going. Just like some greens. Maybe like make yourself a green sauce. What card are we gonna pull today? This one. Yeah, I think it fits. I think it fits with today's stream topic. It's not a direct line, but it's an adjacent line, right? You're talking about peace, and I feel, being grateful for this moment. Ricottos, peppers. Oh, they're peppers from Peru. Even better. Nice. Ricottos. We pulled the gratitude card. Shell, no clue, flying by the seat of my pants of the sugar rush peach, but I'll keep you posted 1 week before harvest. Gratitude is today's card. We have a lady sitting with a shell in her hand, little turtle swimming in the sea, spiraling, flowers growing in a circle around the piece, and the sun peeking out from some clouds. The gratitude of getting to be. Card number 38. Appreciation and thankfulness. The golden spirals within here symbolize offering prayers of appreciation and gratitude for all of life's gifts. Spirals represent the purest form of moving energy, and therefore, they are a perfect means of expression for sending into consciousness your prayers of gratitude. The priestess figure here sits at sunset, consciously acknowledging and giving thanks for the glorious beauty all around. Choosing this card brings a message of appreciation from the cosmos to your heart. Give thanks for your amazing heart, which moves energy through your body so that you may live in the physical world. Give thanks as you open your heart and develop the intelligence that resides there. Living with gratitude is part of your sacred path. Appreciation of your own divine nature and that of everything around you will assist you to experience expanded awareness and appreciation for all that is. Gratitude is such a simple thing, and yet one of the most powerful energies we can engage. Start each day in gratitude and appreciation and see how your world expands. As you move through your day, take moments here and there to connect with your appreciation for the abundance and love that fills your life. Notice how much more beautiful the world appears as you offer yourself the gift of gratitude. As you offer yourself the gift of gratitude. What are we defending, right? Like I feel like that's the same energy field. Because in defending your peace, you realize that defending your peace comes at the cost of you being at peace, even when things happen that could take your peace away. And I'm still really working on that. I have a lot of work to do, in fact. But offering ourselves the gift of gratitude is in that same way. You have things to be grateful for at all times. At all times, there's something to be grateful for. And we can give ourselves that gift in just acknowledging it and remembering. Okay. We have 5 minutes left. Let's say goodbye. Let's see if we're going to get a Shan message. No Kalimba, we don't have the time. Grateful for you all. Grateful for me too. And we are grateful for you as well. Dear Shell, thank you. This card is so pretty. It's one of my favorites. It's so peaceful. No. There we go. There it is. It's starting. I'm gonna give it a second so that you can continue writing. Why do people bereaving? Jovan giving us the full spectrum of love. So much. Like I'm trying to imagine Jovan's idea of each and every single one of those hearts and what it means to her to send a red heart and a orange heart and a yellow heart because it means different things to me, right? And the difference in things it means to me is going to be different to her things of meaning, which mean there's even more fullness to the spectrum. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. Bless you so much. Thank you for blessing us with your presence as well, dear Lisa. Have the most beautifulest day, everyone. I, for really, love you all so, very super duper, extremely tremendously, gigantically, enormously, so muchly dearly. Melt in all of you, oh so very wonderfully, amazingly incredible, staggeringly, spectacularly, gorgeously, luminously, magically magical, divine, epic friends that are worth defending. Bless you and love you too, dear Shan. Thank you for blessing all of us. Must go make buttermilk pancakes for a hungry duckling. Bless to every single one of you friends for joining me. Thank you for spending some time. I'll see you friends again soon. You silly bellies! Are you stepping on my things? Yudi just like straight up standing on both my kalimba and my book. No respect, yo. Ain't got no respect. But I am defending my peace. Like, what are we doing? They're doggers. They're just doggers. And if it was a person, I'd be like, bro, the fuck you do now? Why are you doing that? But they're dogs, so I have to be understanding. I have to defend my peace by realizing I cannot explain to them. I cannot. They're doggers. I can but love them. Bless you, friends. Thank you for joining me, for spending this moment. I'll see you, friends, again soon. Blessings to you. Until tomorrow. Cheers, cheers.